about that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast called Mass Consciousness. This is episode 2, and I am here with
William.
And my name is Talia, and we're going to have a couple of subjects to discuss with you guys today, and we would love to hear your feedback. So we're going to go ahead and start off.
Well, we're in this bright city of Boulder, and coming at you from one of the tallest buildings in town. And we find that, we talk about basically people are drawn here, and a lot of times it's for spiritual reasons, and so we have both compared and feel that this is a real spiritual place compared to other places. What's your feeling, Talia?
Well, I've definitely lived in many different places. I was born in New York, and I lived in Texas for 14 years. I've been in Oklahoma, living on a farm. I've been in Atlanta, Georgia, and I finally moved to Colorado probably about 5 years ago. And the difference in Colorado that I've seen, especially compared to Texas, Colorado is so open. It's open to spirituality. It's open to weirdness. It's kind of like a little artsy place. I guess a lot of people compare it to Portland. But I always watch that show Portlandia. I think it's cute.
Talia, she's a little bit weird herself sometimes.
And I'm weird, so I'm accepted here, which is awesome.
Actually, she can fit in really well if she wants to, but she feels free enough to be able to expose those sides.
Yeah.
So
yeah, in Texas I couldn't do that. In Texas, it's definitely more of a, if you kind of don't fit the mold, then you're the black sheep.
And so you had this secret existence when you were down there.
Yeah, and I think in Atlanta it was crazy because it was so humid, and
it sounds like a weather thing.
Yeah, the humidity. So. I felt dirty when I lived in Georgia.
Well, there you go. That's right.
But I love Georgia. I do love the people.
Sweating and spirituality don't necessarily go together. So,
but you have mountains here. Like, you have mountains in Boulder, and you have the snow. Yeah.
That'd be Adam. He's got to chime in. He's got some spiritual stuff to share with us. But hey, while they're having a little moment, I grew up in the Midwest and very rarely left there. And so I was in this really, if you haven't been there, it's difficult. John Denver sings about Toledo, Ohio. I'm from there. And so living in northern Michigan, though, before I came to Boulder, I was reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I realized when they were like, if you're going to reincarnate, and you go to the place where it's the geese, the ducks, the lakes, and the rivers, it's really nice there, but don't go there because there's no Dharma there. And so I'm like, oh, shit. I've reincarnated in Michigan as an older man. That was quite a big, experience for me to go wow, I'm being born again into that place, the land of the lakes, the ducks, and the geese, and the rivers, and I need to not be there. So I said, I'm going to pack my stuff and move to Boulder.
So what is your meaning of Dharma when you say that?
Well, spiritual teaching. You can't, and not just spiritual teaching, because we talked about the energy you can get here. You think that people with spiritual teaching are, bringing a certain energy here, and that's fine, but it's chicken and egg again here. The energy center is drawing itself in, and those people, as they study the Vedas or whatever they might be studying, are just pulled towards that vortice, perhaps. And I'm just making stuff up right now, but this is what spiritual is cool. I'd just love to be able to, it's free, I can just do it, and I can have these beautiful visions, and then, gosh.
And you're saying here in Boulder, it's easier?
It's easier here, I think, in Boulder, but I would be having them wherever I was.
Right.
So I'm drawn here, though.
You were close to the Great Lake?
Yes, I lived on the Great Lakes.
Did you meet any Canadians?
Canuckers? Yeah,
Canuckers?
Well, very rarely. I didn't travel much across the border into Canada.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
Oh.
They have French. They have a lot of French stuff there.
I had a French Canadian girlfriend in chiropractic school, but.
Do you know French? Can you say something in French right now?
Yeah. Let's say.
I know. Je ne sais pas. I am actually on my phone app. I'm 20% fluent in French.
I am trying not to do something derogatory. You learn those first, and those are the things coming into my mind.
You
so
know
I'm just gonna
dirty
have to
French words.
Dirty French words.
Can he say the dirty French
Pardon
word?
my French, but Chris de Colis de Tabernac.
What is that?
That's just what they say when they're mad.
The Canadians?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of cool.
So,
how do you say it? Will you say
Chris de Colis de Tabernac, and I'm not saying it again.
All right.
Because it's cussing.
Oh.
According to some people, but I used to love saying that because my roommate was French Canadian, and
you got a girlfriend and a roommate that were French Canadian.
I had a couple of French Canadian roommates
before you came here to Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, there's definitely a different vibration in Boulder. I do have a story about Boulder, or about Colorado in general. When I was in Texas, do you guys remember Gadzooks? You guys remember Gadzooks? And I remember going to the mall in high school, and they had this line, the back of the register, the wall was filled with backpacks, and on the backpacks, they're leather backpacks, and on the backpacks there were license plates, and of course, half of them, I'm in Texas, so half of them are Texas license plates. But I thought the concept was so cool that there was a license plate on the backpack. And there was, I was really attracted to the Colorado license plate. I saved up my money. I don't think I was working at the time. I was probably 14.
Now we're getting ready
13.
to study spiritual symbolism. So the Colorado license plate.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's green and white, and it was pretty, and I saved up my money, and I bought the Colorado backpack. And the first day of school, oh my gosh, I forgot how proud Texans are. They hurt my feelings, and I actually wound up throwing the backpack away, and I was just shamed by, and I think it was junior high, or my first year of high school. So it was really hardcore. If you didn't like Texas, or if you didn't have anything to do with Texas, Colorado is blasphemy to have the license plate on my backpack, but I did think it was really cool, and now I'm here, so I'm not worried about it anymore. But yeah, high school. Yeah,
and we don't blaspheme on anybody because we're really spiritual.
What is that? Was that?
No, I'm just goofing around because no, it is. It's kind of this, it's funny when you can see other people, the big, oh, he's got a stick in his eye or whatever. It's going to be a log in mine,
Right.
And so even so, I totally agree because I had the same sort of experience in Michigan. There wasn't anybody there that was very spiritual. And of course, you got to just hunt and fish and snowmobile. And it's just, you got to join the clan. And if you have these other feelings, you're like, I can't be here, I'm suffocating.
Well, and I found my little niche, and at that time, when I was young, I wasn't necessarily spiritual. I was just trying to find my place. You're in high school, you don't know. I mean, some people knew who they were, which was awesome, but some people just have to kind of feel out their way, and I knew that I loved music, so I actually wound up in Texas. I really loved the local music scene, and I got to see a lot of big bands that now, I got to see Blue October before they were famous, and
those are outside influences, which you probably appreciated because you knew what Texas was all about, and you're like, okay, fine, I'm over it, right? I mean, spiritually speaking, right? Is this your way of reaching the outside of Texas?
I mean, it was just music, so it was something to connect me to Texas.
But here you are in Colorado. I'm just saying, was this an avenue for you to travel here? Was the music part of that?
No.
Oh, I'm so argue with you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
it's because I had a baby and my mom was here.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Well, the truth is out. Now, episode 2, and we already know the dirt on Talia.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, but I'm so glad I came here because I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving Colorado unless I go to France.
Well, hey, okay. Well,
that's pretty much it.
And then, the Chris de Colis de Tabernac would work out really good. Oh, I said it for the third time. I'm not supposed to say it.
What does it mean?
It's Christ. They call this. I don't know that one. Tabernacle is like the tabernacle in the church. So you're blaspheming.
Oh, so it's like a religious.
It's just like saying Jesus Christ or something like that.
Oh, so it's not super bad. I'm
No,
sure the
I mean,
French.
it's not like,
I'm
it's
sure
not
the
like
French
Puto
have like
in Mexico or something.
worse stuff.
Did I just say that? That's terrible.
Oh well, it's okay. Never mind.
We could probably make a whole episode on cuss words.
Seriously.
But we're trying to stay on
seriously.
spiritual stuff, right?
Right. All right.
Okay.
So
So
come to Boulder. It's fun. It's awesome. It's spiritual. All right. So, I guess.
we've got another thing we wanted to talk about. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, we've just been talking about your music, haven't we?
So music has actually connected me to spirituality. It's always kind of been my link. When I didn't know what I was even feeling was spiritual. You go to the concerts, and I don't think a lot of people know that when you go to concerts, you do have, like, not necessarily an out-of-body experience for everybody, but, like, there is that oneness, that connectiveness, that flow state that people get into when they hear the same music, especially live. And I think that's what happened in Texas was I hadn't necessarily found my spirituality, but I would go to the concerts, and especially with the local bands that not a lot of people knew of. I mean, like, yeah, there was the Toadies, and there was Bowling for Soup, and all the big ones that people liked, but then there were these little tiny bands that were really good, and you could go up to the front row. Like, I was super spoiled. I would go up to the front row and see them play their instruments and feel the way that the music felt to them and be right up there. And sometimes even the lead singer would, like, forget his lines, and I would be singing the lines to him to remind him the lines. I mean,
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Wow.
So, but just having fun with my friends, and especially, like, dancing, and just the way that flow state works. And I think that kind of led me to drugs and
this is about music, right? Because
dancing.
we can have a whole other subject, right? About
Eventually, I got that music was connected to spirituality.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Uninhibited.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of cool. You reminded me of, me and starting to get in those flow states with, like, dance and music and stuff.
Yeah.
And, of course, I was a young male, and I had to be a male. I wasn't going to be... And what I found myself doing was doing football moves through the house to songs I really loved.
Like what? What songs? And
well, I mean, okay, so like Green Grass and High Tides by The Outlaws. That was one of those songs I just couldn't get enough of. And it actually, you look at those lyrics and they're quite spiritual.
Nice.
So, and I was listening to them. I just liked the jam. It was great. Southern rock and back in those days. And, but I would be moving through the hallway and then diving onto my bed to tackle my pillow or whatever it was, and so I was really, and of course then I ended up taking like ballet and modern and jazz.
Did you?
Classes at University of Toledo.
What?
So yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this is in college? You
so
took
I was
ballet?
avant-garde even back in the day. Yeah.
Holy cannoli.
So,
that's really cool though.
So yeah, and so yeah, I can move. Black girls taught me some cool stuff. And
so you're not a humper? You're not a humper. This is good. There's too many humpers, guys. You have to stop humping the women on the dance floor because you don't know what else to do. Find some better moves. Take some ballet. Go to college.
I need to move over to the other side of the room. There's a humper in the corner over there. If you're really horny, just get in front of him. No.
Oh my goodness! But I didn't know you. So you took ballet, and so how did your parents? Were your parents like?
Well, it was weird because I was graduating high school, and this gal in school, she's like, "You should be a model, and you'll be model of the year and stuff like that." And,
wow.
And I was like, I was thinking about Dungeons and Dragons and all these unapproachable women that I was never gonna, get with, and so.
And then some chick comes up and tells you could be a model?
Yeah,
Nice.
she was in my class, and so I graduated pretty much without dating anybody. I did date a gal from the year before me, actually, a little older gal, when I was in my early 20s. So I did date somebody from high school, but
You like the
I
older
was
ones.
I was so intimidated by women. But again, this is about music, isn't it?
Well, I was wondering how your parents felt. Were they supportive?
Oh, yeah, actually, they were quite supportive.
Okay.
And so later on, when my brother came out gay, they were just, yeah, okay, fine. What else is new?
All right.
So big deal, right?
That's really cool. Because I think a lot of people struggle with,
The conformity, and that you got a lot of that in Texas. I'm
Yeah.
sure, in spades.
yeah, there's definitely, limitations and stuff like that and obligations.
So I guess really this is an opportunity to be thankful for my parenting. And, because I
Yeah.
like to curse, guys, could you give me a little leg up here, or something, maybe just social interaction. So, but they did as best they could.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think my parents actually, they were supportive, but they couldn't necessarily. I felt like there was a lot of inner turmoil with them, so there wasn't a lot of
Meaning they wouldn't come out against it
focus
in an
on
overt
what I.
manner. They just,
Right.
but they'd be like, my daughter stopped fitting in.
Yeah, like I would be like, I want to start a band, and my mom would be like, oh, that's nice, and that's pretty much it, So I wish that they would have done a little bit more, but honestly, I've actually gotten stronger because I needed to learn how to do it for myself and not for pleasing somebody else or expecting them to get me a guitar for my birthday or expecting them to dole out, some money so I could go to the School of Rock or whatever, take vocal lessons. And they did. Actually, my mom did give me vocal lessons.
What this says about Talia spiritually is that when you are on a cutting edge of spirituality, you tend to be somebody that's going to step away from the norm. If you're just sitting in the norm, then it's almost maybe a pleasant spiritual experience actually, because what you're doing is enjoying an incarnation. But then there's those of us who go, okay, we've kind of been here seeing this bullshit. We need to move on.
Now we got to do something.
Home. And so then we come into this life and we're challenged, and then out of that challenge, then now this new thing sprouts. And so that's what I'm hearing in the conversation.
Well, no, definitely, music changed me, and I mean, like, it definitely made me focus on what I wanted and what I needed to do for myself, and not for anybody else, and not worry about the fear, and, what was more important, the priority of other people's opinions or the priority of, having accomplished what I want to accomplish, which was, at the time, singing and being in a band. And actually, when I came to Colorado, I tried out for a couple bands and got into a band and started singing punk covers and playing gigs and singing at, the spiritual center that we go to.
I really enjoy her singing. So
we have a lot of fun singing. Then of course, there's always karaoke.
Well, that's my gig.
Karaoke's always good.
We'll sing for you sometime.
But yeah, so it's been an influential spiritual tool that you can use, and it's really easy to change your vibration. Like if you're really depressed, I mean, sometimes I would when I was a teenager, I remember listening to November Rain and locking myself in my closet and just feeling the despair and feeling like you're at the bottom of a grave. Like you're a teenager.
Nothing ever changes that cold November rain.
Yeah. And I remember I think I was crying over Leonardo DiCaprio because he wasn't my boyfriend at the time. I think Titanic had come out. Or Romeo and Juliet, actually. But yeah, it was really sad.
It's so cool to listen to that.
But then, okay, so you can use music as a tool. So that's pretty much my gist is you can either go with the music that makes you feel depressed and like work yourself through the emotional, vibrational pull that you're going through, or you can try and change your mood by either listening to chanting or listening to happier music, or I don't know, sometimes I'll make myself listen to Justin Bieber with Adam, my son.
And I think what I hear you implying too is that when you're listening to certain music, pay attention to how you feel.
Absolutely. Well, this is, yes, absolutely. Pay attention to how you feel.
And then you make conscious choices about what types of music and when you listen to actually make a difference in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it really does. It's such a tool to just help. Also, taking a good long shower. Music and water are like absolutely great tools to use to change you to a more positive vibration.
Well, when we're talking about vibrations, one of the subjects we wanted to get into tonight was chakras, and of course, everybody talks about them, at least in Boulder, pretty much. If you don't know what chakra is, you're not from here. It's almost like a code word to get in.
We're not from here either, though.
I know. Well, we're not. But I mean, but you come to Boulder and everybody knows what a chakra is. I imagine there's people from back in Texas. Well, chakra? What's that?
Well, let's teach the people in Texas.
I think I broke mine back when I fell off a bowl.
What chakras are? Brief synopsis. Go.
Okay, brief synopsis of chakra. In fact, the idea is that I don't want to get surfacey and go over the normal interpretation of what chakras are. I mean,
how many chakras
in order
are
for
there?
Well, there's 7 chakras.
Okay.
But some people say, oh, there's 8, 9, 10,
there
11,
could be 13.
1,300.
There could be 13. But 7 main chakras.
But
so
the ones we talked about,
chakra?
you see it on all the. Well.
So what is the first chakra?
What are we gonna?
I mean, like let's give a brief synopsis about the chakras.
No, I mean this is your department because you probably know that one and I don't. I just go their energy centers. But the first one is at your base. I mean, is that
chakra? Okay.
I mean, your base chakra, which is basically your body.
Your root chakra.
Your root chakra, if you would.
It's going to be more of it's almost like the reptilian brain. It's the survival. It's the core foundation chakra. It's a grounding chakra, and its color is red. Then you go to the second chakra.
Well, let me just say one thing about that
okay.
base chakra is that this is an energy center. So they're not saying it's in your groin. You have this energy body, and this is the locality of that energy. And yes, you can have certain, hey, it feels good to take a shit sometimes. And that's what, if that's good, healthy living. You should feel good when your body's working right, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so that's why the root chakra is there, but it's an energetic pattern as opposed to actually, it has effects in all the areas. It's not just dealing with your bowels or down low in your pelvis or your nuts or whatever it is.
Well, like you said, it's an energy center, and it's an energy center. It's not necessarily for physical.
Right. And so that's one where, so like some people never even heard of it. There's other folks, though, that kind of have a basic idea. What about chakras? Is that just when you're feeling horny or something? No, it's not. It's not just that. It's just normal human bodily function. And that does include, of course, sex. But so it's just an energetic thing we're trying to look at. And that's where you really start to understand what chakras are representative of or helping with or affecting, if anything is an effect to its cause.
Yeah, so chakra number 2. That's the sacral chakra. It's the color orange, and it relates to your sex organs.
Actually.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning sex organs on the first one, but I imagine who knows which one of those 2 chakras get going because it's hard to tell. I mean, it just, maybe there are some people that really understand that and feel it, but for me it's, still a little bit vague as far as when I'm noticing the movement of those patterns and which one can be delineated from another.
Okay.
So, I mean, personally speaking, I'm just...
No, and I mean, like, they're both lower chakras, they're not the upper chakra. So then you get to the solar plexus, which is the color yellow.
That's my favorite one.
And the solar plexus.
This I didn't even know it was yellow, but that's exactly it. You yellow-bellied son of a bitch. It's yellow right across that area.
And
Okay, and when you're scared, that's when you're really engaged in that chakra. Now, what that chakra is trying to do is save your patut, your physical form, because it's important for you to stick around so you can actually have a spiritual awakening. But if you can't stick around, then you're back on the spiritual side going, what am I going to do this next morning? I don't even know what you do on the other side. It doesn't matter. There could be all kinds of scenarios, and I do have some inkling, and we could go into it. But I'm saying this being my favorite chakra is because this is that make or break thing. If we can cross over from this, well, we've got a beautiful planet. If we can't, well, we'll get it the next time.
It is really, I mean, like, and it's definitely a center where you can feel, like, that's where you get your butterflies. You know, that's where you get the nervous knot in your stomach when you're about to do something that you've never done before. You know, that is kind of the emotional center of the chakras, is kind of how I think of it.
I also think of it like George Lucas's good, dark and light side of the force. A nice controlled adrenaline experience can be quite useful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you let it go crazy, now something else is taken over. And you know, that's going to have its way and its day.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then you go up to the higher chakras and
going up to heart.
The heart chakra, right, which is the color green.
Cool.
Obviously ruled by the heart.
Jesus would be, you know, I mean, this, you know, whether he's a real or a fictitious, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I mean, the feeling of that is what's important about the story. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, this is classic Jesus. Get in your heart, because this is the next age, and we should be into the heart by now.
Well, we should, you know, let's not be so hard on ourselves. We feel, you know, as mass consciousness.
I was shoulding again. I shouldn't be shoulding.
But I think the heart is definitely. I think actually they did a study where the scientists have found that the heart has its own auric energy and its own auric field, and it actually, you can connect with a person on a heart level. Like, we could connect right now on our heart level without even speaking, and our quote-unquote higher selves would understand. Does that make sense?
Well, so it's already happening with you and I.
Heart is
because I say some of the damnedest things.
But it's a super powerful chakra. It's a really, really awesome tool. If you can connect with it. But I think a lot of people close off that chakra. So that's something maybe we could talk about in another episode of opening up your chakras.
It's that transition. You know, if you can get past your fears, wow, it's beautiful up here.
Then, because me and Will are both singers.
We love singing. It's part of our deliverance, I would have to say. It's therapy for me. I found all the songs I really loved when I was a kid had cool existential lyrics.
So the fifth chakra is the throat chakra, and that's the color blue. And the throat chakra is based on how you communicate with other people, and you're communicating more or less your truth and your honesty. And do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I have learned to open up that chakra. It was very shut in me when I was younger. So once in a while I can get bound up in my throat chakra. But I really felt that, you know, between my transitions from childhood, I was happy with how much progress that area made. And you can kind of say, oh, it's some gift of God or whatever. You can just make up anything. But if you can recognize something happening and just kind of get your mind to be able to see it, it's kind of cool, because then you go, oh, I got something I can work with here maybe, you know, and then if it's helpful, it pays off.
Yeah, and I think speaking your truth, I mean, like, I have a blog called Talia the Truth, and it is sometimes hard to really be honest with not only yourself but with other people and saying what you're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable. So I think opening that chakra is a really big deal. And then the sixth chakra is your third eye. So that's
now
a
they
fun
call it
one.
the crown, right? Is that the crown? No, the
that's
next
the
one
sun.
up is the crown. What's
So-
this? What they
So
call?
this is the third eye, and
Okay.
this is going to be your sixth chakra. It is the color indigo, and it's also correlated with your pineal gland and opening that.
Mine's probably calcified.
It's all about intuition. I'm sure all of us have calcified pineal glands,
Okay.
unless you're, a breatharian or something. But yeah, so that's the
I
third
really
eye.
enjoyed that steak today.
So, any comments on third eye, or
Oh, I'd like to think that
we'll do a whole episode on intuition. It'll
I
be
have
fun.
I'd like to think that I have a third eye that is blinded in its fovea centralis, so it just sees the grays and the whites and stuff.
The foveus and
That's a
Is that
a
Latin?
medical term, but
oh,
it's so. But no, I'm just coming up riffing on something just right now, and what I see how my third eye rolls, and I just don't want to pretend like it rolls like other people's.
everybody has their own way. Yeah.
Well, right, and so I'm not going to say that my experience is going to be for everyone, but mine has this intellectual quality of being able to put little data points everywhere, and then all of a sudden I'm stepping back, I start seeing pictures. But the pictures don't look like that's a dragon there, or it's not any kind of visualization that's coming into visual cortex. But I have structures, and then I go, wow, I wonder, do other people share that structure? And of course, it's just classic, subtle field theory. And so you just go, okay, well, I'm experiencing that, so let's just call it good and work with it with as much skill as I can.
Absolutely. Well, I love the third eye. It's fun. And then the last chakra is
Crown!
the very top of your, actually above your head.
Where the
or the top of
Kundalini
your
is
head.
supposed to show up.
And so that's the crown chakra, right? And that's purple, which is my favorite color. And that's connecting with your higher
Sky
self.
was all purple, there were people running everywhere.
That is your spirit self. That is the higher purpose, the higher intention, the higher source that you're guided by in this life, supposedly, is your crown chakra.
Well, it's just coming to me right now that maybe Prince knew that it was the crown chakra, and that's why the sky was purple.
I think
Because
his
everybody
favorite
was
color was
witnessing
purple too.
purple.
I mean, come
And it
on,
was his
purple
favorite
rain.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Prince. Not as much as Bowie, but enough.
Well, they both had their troubles, but it's okay.
Bowie didn't have troubles. Anyway.
No. God bless us
All right,
all.
so another episode of Mass Consciousness.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Thank you so much from Will and Talia. Hope you guys get a good day or good night's sleep or whatever you're doing. Cheers.